7 Kosovan Serbs have been injured in an exchange of fire between protesters and NATO peacekeepers at a disputed border crossing. Locals blame the alliance's troops for the shooting, but NATO says it's responded only with rubber bullets and tear gas in self-defence after Kosovo Serbs attacked the checkpoint. Tension there increased in August when Kosovan police seized 2 border crossings in order to impose a ban on imports from Serbia. Let's go to Belgrade now, so we can get the views of Serbian-Canadian documentary maker Boris Malagurski. Boris, thanks for being on the programme tonight. Is this cross-border trade dispute threatening to descend into something far worse, do you think?
Well, at this point, it's very important for all sides to refrain from using violence, which the Serbs have done, but KFOR troops have resorted to violence by firing at first rubber bullets and firing tear gas at the Serbs, eventually real bullets into the Serbs, and then blood has been shed in North Kosovo. German KFOR soldiers are putting barbed wires around entire Serb communities, and the last time we saw German soldiers putting barbed wire around communities was in World War II.
Boris, sorry, let me just get this straight. Let me just get this straight in my head. What did you say there? I mean, I'm saying NATO is saying that they fired rubber bullets. You're saying differently.
No, NATO has fired rubber bullets into Serbs. KFOR soldiers did, but this was done to try to get the Serbs to leave from the barricades which they have imposed on these so-called border crossings that are really administrative border crossings. And this is something that is escalating the situation over there with German KFOR soldiers trying to isolate the community and turn it essentially into a ghetto.
Is NATO at all perceived as part of the problem there, though, by some?
Well, that's a good question. Who polices the police? In this unipolar world, the Serbs are hoping that somebody will come to the aid because NATO at this point is not really contributing to a peaceful resolution of the problems over there. NATO is simply pushing ahead with its interests in North Kosovo, which are mainly economic.
We've already seen armed conflict, albeit with rubber bullets. You think the situation's going to get worse, or was this an isolated incident? Again, I'll put that to you because I just really wanted to get your thoughts on it because you're closer to the action here.
It's hard to say whether the situation will get worse, but NATO has not refrained from using force when it needed to push forward for its interest. It does have blood on its hands ever since the NATO bombing of Serbia in 1999, and these conflicts are showing that they don't really care what's going to happen to the Serbian civilians, unarmed civilians. In Kosovo, that they are going to push ahead no matter what, while the Serbs, on the other hand, are fighting for their bare existence, and they have no choice but to continue pushing forward to have the right to remain where they have lived for centuries.
I guess, depending on which side of the fence you're on, what your opinion is on either one, I guess both Kosovo and Serbia need to resolve their issues before either can try and move forward with plans like further recognition or EU membership. Since August, both of them have seen a step back, no?
Well, first of all, I'd like to differentiate that Kosovo is Serbian. There's no difference. That is how people here perceive it. But the Belgrade and Pristina governments are trying to establish so-called good relations, and this is a prerequisite for joining the European Union. And this is definitely a step backward, but on the other hand, ever since this requirement has been imposed to establish good relations, it has been more in the sense that Serbia should accept everything that the international community thinks is important in regards to Kosovo, while the Kosovo Albanians are getting more of a free ride. But both sides should really think about where this is going and try to solve things in a peaceful way, because people here really need the peace. We've had enough of war. We just want to live peacefully, but if the international community is supporting just one side, it's very hard to reach a reasonable agreement.
OK, Serbian-Canadian documentary maker Boris Malagurski, thanks ever so much for taking the time out to be on the programme. It's appreciated.